We're joined now by HuskerOnline and Sean Callahan. Sean, Nebraska is 3-0 for the first time since 2016. I would ask you, what has impressed you the most so far in Nebraska's 3-0 start?
Well, there's a lot of things. I mean, I think the turnovers, though, first, the improvement year over year. You go back to last year, just the first two games alone, the quarterback position had 7 turnovers. We've only seen 1 turnover through the first 3 games from the quarterback, and it was really not one that you could be overly critical on. It was a 50-50 ball in the air that was somewhat underthrown, but Jalen Lloyd had it, and it was taken from him on the way to the ground. And then you had the fumble earlier by Dowdell, and that's it through 3 games. So I think the turnover improvement has been big. Just the efficiency that we've seen the offense operate with. I mean, to open the game with drives of 75, and then 80 yards. We just haven't seen Nebraska do that in a while, where they can put together 3 straight touchdown drives in a row to begin a game. And we knew this defense was going to be good. And I think they've been able to play a lot of players. That's been impressive. There's 28 guys on the defense that have played over 21 snaps.
Damn.
Through the first 3 games, which, that's an impressive number to be able to play that many guys. So not only have they, played at a high level, the points per game is towards the top in the country in terms of points allowed. They've been able to get a lot of guys playing time as well.
28 players have played 21 snaps or more. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is incredible to me. Okay, Foley, Ed, on statewide radio last night. I'm just going to ask you to comment on this comment he made, which I found interesting. He said the pressure for us on special teams is that the offense and defense are playing close to a championship caliber. Now, what he said, paraphrasing, is we're not playing that. We're not making enough of those championship type plays right now. Do you see the offense and defense playing close to a championship caliber? I thought that was a really interesting comment.
I think this defense, when fully healthy and on the field and schemed up, is. I mean, I don't think last week, A, they had everybody out there. B, I don't know if they really put a lot on the field as far as scheme. They kept it pretty basic in terms of what they showed. And they played a lot of guys. I mean, they're playing Dylan Parrott and, Keona Davis. And I mean, they're playing a lot of guys on the field.
Yeah, up front.
In key downs up front for that experience. But I do think when the defense we saw against Colorado, the way they played, I mean, that was a high level. They played on defense against a very, very good offense and held their own and shut those guys down for the most part. To hold Colorado to this 10 points, that's impressive. I mean, the way they executed on offense last week, 3 in the first half, to have 3 of those touchdown drives like that. But you're right, on special teams, there's just a few things there, and particularly field goal. Ken Alvano hit a 42-yarder. I'm concerned about the 30-yarders because they missed the 32-yarder. But there's going to be a lot of games coming up here where you've got to make a 42-yard field goal. And if you're up 7-0 and that puts you up 10-0 in a Big Ten football game, that is huge to get up 10-0 or to extend your lead with a field goal. But you've got to prove that. And he said last night as well, Coach Foley, that Alvano's still not all the way healthy. He's getting that confidence back. And that is a little concerning now as we go into games where those field goals are going to really matter for Nebraska here this season.
Joined by Sean Callahan. Sean, the first touchdown of the game was scored by Carter Nelson, true freshman. He also had two catches on that drive in general. What do you expect from him going forward? He's had good usage through 3 games. What do you expect from him the rest of the season, Sean?
We had to hold back Steve Sipple in the press box.
You did? I didn't see video of that, Sean.
I heard his knee hit the table right when Carter.
Whoa. We didn't know about this.
Sean.
What's impressive about Carter is he has 7 targets, 7 catches.
Yeah, he doesn't drop anything.
Every time they've thrown the ball to him, it comes right to he pulls it in.
Yep.
And it's a matter of how much more they want to increase his role. Because what we've seen is they've carved in packages for him and where he's going to get the ball. But they've only done it really, 2, maybe 3 points of these first 3 games. Can they do how do they extend that package for him without making it obvious? Because I do think there's so limited tape out of him, but when he is in the game, they go to him. So, I would think opposing the defenses are going to know when he's in the game. There's a pretty good chance they're going to do something with him in the game. So can they make him just a part of the day-to-day part of the offense where he's out there blocking, doing things? I mean, that's the next step. Because right now we've seen him showcased, but he hasn't really been just a role player within the offense on every down. It's been more of a showcase role every time he's been out there. So that's probably the next step is, can they put him in some rotational snaps? There's no doubt, though, he's a matchup nightmare. I mean, you go back and watch the play of that linebacker trying to guard him.
Yeah, good luck.
It was no contest.
Jake is okay.
Now, I understand the excitement now you had in the press box after that reaction.
All right, Sean, we haven't talked about this much, and you don't talk about it when it's happening. Sean, how many receiver drops have there been this year? You could count them on one hand, I think.
Not many. I can actually tell you right now here. I'll give you the exact number on air here.
Please.
The drops by the team have been one, and it was by Naor. So there's been one receiver drop on 85 targets.
That is really good, Sean. I mean, it's spectacular. They're not dropping passes.
Yeah, and we've seen games where single receivers in the past have dropped a lot. I mean, I'll go back. I'm just going to go back to the 2022 season, the last season.
Okay.
They had 26 drops in 2022. Trey Palmer, for as good as he was, had 10 drops that year.
10 drops.
He was targeted 110 times.
Mm-hmm.
So the drops, you're right. I mean, Dylan puts it in a place. Last year, the team had 22 drops.
1 through 3 games. 1 through 3 games is a good number. And I think that is some of it you would say you credit Dylan for where he puts the ball.
And opponent base, too. I mean, last year you're on the road opening up against Colorado, against Minnesota. Those are high-stress downs, loud crowds, different circumstances. I do think being at home, there's a comfort to that with what you're doing on offense.
Sure.
Sean, regarding Friday's game, you mentioned Nebraska, if it comes down to a field goal, it could be concerning regarding Alvano. But what do you expect? Do you expect this to come down to the wire? What do you expect from Friday's game against the Illini?
I think Nebraska, that Kansas game's a little deceiving. We were talking about that on Big Red Wrap-Up last night. Michael Severe brought up a good point that Kansas really had a great chance to win that game, and they were taking control at points, and then they turned it over. I think it's a good matchup for Nebraska because I don't look at Illinois as an explosive, high-powered offense, and I think Nebraska's defense has an advantage with that. The key is Dylan. They're going to get after him. They have to protect him. And can they execute in the run game? The way they run the ball has been solid. Can they do that against a quality Big Ten defensive front? Because the size of Illinois' defense will be the biggest defensive front Nebraska's faced this year.
Sean, always good stuff. Thanks for the time. We'll chat with you again next week.
Hey, thanks, guys.
HuskerOnline, Sean Callahan.